My overall favorite play for tonight's matchup between the Chargers and the Jets is going to be Justin Herbert over 249.5 passing yards. In this video, you're going to find out why. Along with this Justin Herbert pick, I'm going to find 5 other plays in this exact same game and conduct a single game parlay on PrizePicks. And we're going to be utilizing a strategy called the correlation strategy. If you guys are brand new to this channel, welcome. We teach you guys all about profitable strategies on these fantasy pick'em apps like PrizePicks, Underdog, Parlay Play, and Jock Market. And again, in this video, we're going to be going over correlation and why that is profitable on these fixed parlay platforms. So let's first dive into why this is profitable by going over the fixed payout structure here on PrizePicks. So I just want to start out, you have to understand the payouts on PrizePicks and the fact that they do not change, regardless of the type of player prop combinations and the type of player props that you're putting within these parlays. So, again, with a couple exceptions. For instance, if you take all unders within the same game, they actually do alter your payouts. But if you take all overs, they do not. So if I take all unders here from the same game, you can already see it getting altered. It like drastically alters it down to 21x. That's actually not too bad. There's actually some more aggressive alters. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and we're going to focus on the fact that, hey, like if we took all overs from the same game or even different sports, I'm going to show you guys how the PrizePicks structure, the payout, never changes. I'll go ahead and change one of these plays to an NHL play. So as you can see here, 25x, 2x, 0.4x, doesn't matter the type of combinations of players. As you can see here, I took 4 Chargers players. I took 1 Jets player, and then I took an NHL player. The payouts never change, right? So obviously, you guys can see that 25x for 6 out of 6, 2x for 5 out of 6, and 0.4x for getting 4 out of 6. This is very crucial information to know because you're getting this parlay after insurance is all said and done at plus 38.50. And the way that I came up with that math is that you're actually getting average implied odds in 6-man flex slips and 5 flex slips at minus 119 implied odds per leg. And when you put minus 119 implied odds into a 6-man parlay on any traditional sports book, you get that parlay at plus 38.50. So the way that I came up with minus 119 implied odds per leg is I looked at the break-even percentage per leg by taking into consideration the plus EV on each individual leg by taking into account the projected win percentage. So this is the true percent odds to hit, pretty much the fair odds that I have per leg here on this Excel spreadsheet. So for instance, and I only know this because I've done this a million times, if I were to take a 50-50 prop, right, and if I'm a casual sports bettor from an average sports bettor, I'm hitting my props at an average hit rate of 50%, I'm losing long term, right? So our job is to find out what that percentage is. And again, I've done this a million times. It's 54.21%, which equates to calculated fair odds of minus 118.38. So essentially, in order to remain profitable in the long term, I have to hit each one of my props individually at an average hit rate in 6-man flex slips at a 54.21% or higher to remain profitable in the long run. And to compare this to a 2-man power, 2-man powers are incredibly juiced. This is the hidden math behind PrizePicks. You have to hit your individual legs at minus 136.68 implied odds, which is a freaking crazy difference when you're comparing 2-man powers directly back to 6 flexes and 5 flexes. And this should actually be 54.26. Anyway, this is why playing 6 flex slips and 5 flex slips on PrizePicks are your best bang for your buck slips in the long term. And now if I switch over to the parlay calculator by throwing in minus 118 and minus 119 implied odds, you see that I get parlay odds, fair odds of plus 38.50, which is where I come up with these odds. So for a 6-man flex slip, even though I'm not showing you the true odds if I were to sweep, we're taking into consideration all the insurance, everything. Anyway, long story short, you are getting this parlay over on PrizePicks at plus 38.50. And this is extremely advantageous to know because what we're going to do is compare these parlay odds in a single game parlay over the FanDuel and DraftKings single game parlay where they alter their payouts based on positive correlation. And for anybody who doesn't know what positive correlation is in NFL, it's 2 independent variables, 2 different players within the same game that positively affect the outcome of other players within that same game. So by putting in positively correlated players on a dynamic sportsbook, they alter their payouts drastically, comparing them over the PrizePicks where they do not, most of the time. And we're going to break down the overall best parlay to enter for tonight's matchup between the Chargers and the Jets. And the way that we're going to be finding profitable parlays on PrizePicks is by utilizing the DGFantasy correlation tool, where it uses AI technology to scan the entire market and show you the most profitable, most correlated player combos together in a slip, and shows you exactly the slip that you should be playing. Now, this correlation tool is insane because it directly addresses the edge of correlation for every single sport, for sports where correlation edges exist. So for college football, for NFL, for NBA, for CSGO, some of the most correlated sports altogether, it shows you the slips that you should be entering. So if you were a $100 bettor, since August 18th by playing every single slip recommended on this tool, you would be up $52,000. No joke, because we show this. This is a publicly tracked record of each performance of slips that we recommend on the tool. Complete transparency. And you guys can view this page for completely free. And just to show you like the edge that we had over the weekend, this is for college football. We had so many winners. We recommended the all under here slip from this game. And again, our AI technology scans through all these individual plus EV legs and shows you either the softest projections or the most aggressive projections, and shows you whether they hit the over or under. This is on Underdog, and we just had winners tweeted at us all weekend long. I mean, we went freaking insane. This guy's only a $5 sports bettor, ended up over almost $1,000 here to end the weekend. And this was actually in October. So this was before all the college football slips hit. But as you can see here, plenty of money to be made, not only on PrizePicks, but also on Underdog. And I can just keep scrolling. We had so many winners tweeted to us. And again, this is utilizing the correlation edge on college football and on NFL. So if you guys don't believe me, just look at the publicly graded graph. Again, this is all complete transparency. But for tonight, let's go ahead and take a look here at the PrizePicks 6 flex slip. That's for CSGO. This is the slip recommended tonight. Let's go ahead and walk through it here and talk through why this is so heavily correlated. So the very first play here is Justin Herbert over 249.5 passing yards. We obviously know that that is one of the better plays recommended for tonight because that line is actually pretty soft for Justin Herbert. And again, the technology knows all of this and it just scans the market, which is why it's recommending it. Now it's scanning the market to find the next best play to pair with Justin Herbert that's also the most correlated. So let's look through the next recommended pick, which is Austin Ekeler over 32.5 receiving yards. So Ekeler, as we know, catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. We're hoping for a pass-heavy game script here versus the Jets. Don't know the spread right now, but I can only assume that the Jets are underdogs. Let's hope that this game remains somewhat competitive and that all these players throw for a lot of yards in this game, right? And the receivers, the running backs have to get involved. Quentin Johnson also recommended here at the exact same line, ironically. So let's look at Quentin Johnson over 32.5 receiving yards. Zach Wilson over receiving yards. And then his favorite wide receiver also over receiving yards. So this is very straightforward. These are only 5 of the 6 picks, but Justin Herbert, the more he throws, obviously the more receiving yards his wide receivers and running backs are going to catch for. I mean, that's very straightforward, right? And then obviously the more receiving yards that they catch, the more passing yards that Justin Herbert's throwing for, then it's also going to positively affect the other side of the ball. Zach Wilson's going to be forced to throw for more yards, and same thing with Garrett Wilson. All of these are very positively correlated and thus bringing up the organic percent odds to hit per leg. If Austin Ekeler is going to go over his receiving yards, then it's going to organically bring up the percent odds to hit for Justin Herbert. Same thing with Quentin Johnson, same thing with Zach Wilson, and same thing with Garrett Wilson. But by how much? Is this a profitable sports bet? Is this a profitable long-term slip? And that's what the DGFantasy correlation tool shows you. Yes, it is. And then our last pick from the correlation tool is going to be Thomas Morstead under 4.5 punts. That's a weird one. And again, there's only one punter on the board, so slight edge. Maybe they're getting rid of the other punter. Anyway, think about this, guys. The more yards that Justin Herbert throws for, the more yards that Zach Wilson throws for, means the more opportunities, most likely, that they're going to be in the red zone and playing back and forth, right? Which means less opportunities for the punter. So hitting the less than 4.5 here, very positively correlated with the rest of the slip. Now, to show you guys to take this one step further, let's compare those plus 38.50 odds directly over the FanDuel single game parlay to see if this really is a profitable sports bet, if the books agree with you that this is a heavily correlated slip. Also, another thing to note is that PrizePicks actually offers props that aren't even offered on FanDuel single game parlays, like punter props. This is so heavily correlated with overpassing and receiving yards that they straight up don't even offer it on FanDuel. There's no such thing as punter props. So keeping that into consideration, or taking that into consideration rather, we're actually going to get rid of the punter from PrizePicks Slip and put in a random wide receiver. I threw in Allen Lazard from the Jets to give you like a ballpark representation or a comparison of FanDuel over to PrizePicks. So as you can see here, I'm getting this at plus 1922 odds, which means I put in $100, and if this entire slip hits, meaning it has to sweep, I'm getting $1,900 back. On PrizePicks, let's take this into consideration. If I put in $100 straight up, if this sweeps, I'm getting a better payout if this sweeps on PrizePicks. But that's not even taking into consideration the insurance. If I go 5 of 6, I still get $200, and if I go 4 of 6, then I get some money back. That is not an option on FanDuel. You either have to sweep. If you go 5 of 6, well, you're screwed. You lose your entire $100, right? So this should be living proof. This is literally half the odds that I'm getting as I would on PrizePicks. And this is why the correlation strategy is so advantageous, and why the correlation tool is showing these crazy results, because this is the strategy. This is the edge you guys should be tapping into. And again, this is not just the strategy that you can play on PrizePicks. This is for every fixed payout fantasy platform that's offered right now that doesn't nerf correlation. So we have another slip. I'm going to throw a bonus slip out there for Underdog. If you guys haven't signed up for Underdog, feel free to enter using code DGF for 100% match up to $500. Crazy promo. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the slip here for Underdog, and you guys pretty much get it at this point. Ooh, receiving targets. That's fun. So for Allen Lazard, so this slip actually looks slightly different. We have passing touchdowns over for Justin Herbert. I mean, this one, it looks like a more fun slip to enter in my opinion. So let's go ahead and throw him in over there. You're also getting Garrett Wilson at a slight discount. And then I'll prove to you guys that the odds are a lot better on Underdog by comparing back to FanDuel single game parlay here in a second. No Keenan Allen in any of these slips. So that's not fun. But his props look to be a little bit more aggressive. So that explains that. Oh, it's because this is the only prop offered for Allen Lazard right now. So again, consistently scanning the market and recommending the most profitable type of slip here on Underdog. And then Garrett Wilson over 65. Oh, his prop is even softer now on Underdog. So that's a huge plus. So keep in mind on Underdog, when you put in a 5-leg non-insured slip, you're getting 20x, which is plus 1900 odds. So it's slightly different from PrizePicks, right? So we have to recalculate and compare these odds over the single game to the FanDuel single game parlay. Remember, there's only 5 legs that have to hit, and you're getting this at plus 1900 odds. The way that you come up with that math is that $100 turns into 2000, which is plus 1900 odds in terms of the payout. And what I did is I replaced the props that I could. I threw in Allen Lazard over reception since they don't have targets on FanDuel. So it just shows you guys the edge here. And as you can see here, I'm getting this at plus 1180 on FanDuel single game parlay, but plus 1900 on Underdog. And hopefully that shows you guys enough of the edge here. And hopefully you guys did enjoy this content. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future NFL content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.